Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 514 of the DrunkNerds Podcast. As always, I'm Tyler. And join me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Yes, man. I feel so fucking good right at this moment. And not just because that it's an end of another work week, but because I've been playing so much freaking Splatoon 3, I am just jonesing for more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just tell you, man, it's like the Splatfest has been going on for at least now the second day. And I'll tell you what, man, it's like the hierarchy in terms of the Splatfest and stuff. It's like you have a bunch of the teams that are like harder, like that are freaking like difficult to play against, right? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're going through, you're supporting your teams, you're doing the best you can and stuff. But sometimes you just match with a whole bunch of different people, and your team just completely just blows.
Yeah.
It just completely.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you can tell when people just want to go through and just participate into something, and then just leave you to try to do all the shit yourself. Because I'll tell you what, man, it's like number of matches I've had during last night, and I played that damn game for like about 5 hours last night because it's like I was playing some bit of that. Then once I was done doing that, finished off with some single player missions and whatsoever. But oh man, the amount of times I actually won different matches with my team for Team Grub, I'm like, I could count them all on one hand.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I did have a good amount of fun experiences playing certain matches and then like getting to certain situations that is kind of hilarious. And also how effective you can do like stealth kill stuff when you're just hiding in the ink and stuff and them going past you, and then all of a sudden it's like they're like right in front of you, right? And they don't know you're there, and then it's like they turn around and all of a sudden you just pop up and just just stealth kill them and just go on your
Yeah.
merry way.
Yeah.
Oh man. But other than that, though, not in too much. I mean, I'm definitely going to be going on vacation fairly soon. I got like a 3-day work week coming up, plus all sorts of various other crap happening at home. So, I'm just good right at this moment. How about yourself, Tyler?
Doing all right as well, long work week as always, but, yeah, it's been a nice little weekend so far. I also partake in the Splatoon 3. Gables and I we are pro grub. Oddly enough, though, as of right now, recording this, it is 11:16 Central Time on Saturday night, the 24th. So a little over halfway through the Splatfest.
Yep.
Team Grub, which if you're on a island, a deserted island, and you can only bring fun gear or grub, you would think grub would be the number one obvious answer. No. Apparently this world is stupid, and they want fun. Number one, gear number two. Okay. Well, you guys are dumb. I guess though, if like I'm gonna be stuck on a deserted island, with no end in sight, I'd rather just have a fun time, and die quickly than have food and just be stranded for a long time. I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, Gables. It's hard out there for a grub, Um, but yeah. No, but otherwise, no, you know me, clanging and banging as always. It's been like I said, a long, rough week. But hopefully, my parents get they got a new furniture yesterday, and my
Nice.
parents are giving me their old couch. It's only a couple
Nice.
of years old. It's like like over $2,000 couch, and I have this
Hey,
like couch I got when I moved in that was like $300, and I've been laying on it forever. And it was just like when my ex and I we bought, like, it was like a couch love seat combo for like $500. I'm like, this is just for now, and then like we'll just sit on it for like, because like we moved in and like the thing we picked out we literally couldn't fit to get into the apartment, because the hallways are the too small here, and it's just kind of weirdly shaped. So we're like, okay, well, we'll just get this small couch and love seat set here, and then when we move out in a year or so, we'll just we'll throw these out and we'll get some good stuff, and then 3.5 years later, I'm still living here, and I'm still got that couch and love seat sitting over here for I bought, and I mean it's fine. Hey, like a very good investment on my end. Less than $100 a year of what I'm paying for these things, but definitely ready. It's like a nice like poofy couch, and it's got like reclining seats and everything. So it's gonna be pretty sweet.
Nice.
Pretty cool. Cool AF, as the kids say. I don't know if kids still say that, but I say it now. So probably
How
don't.
do you
They
do,
probably
fellow
don't.
kids?
Yeah. How do you do, fellow kids? Yeah. We just see Gables with his backwards hat, sitting backwards in his chair again. When he says that. Yeah, no, but it's whatever. But Gables, you're mentioning you got a vacation come up here. I also have a vacation come up here soon. And you want to know why I had that vacation? Because Extra Life is happening November 5th.
Dude.
It is happening, like I said, November 5th, the first Saturday of November. We do this every year. It's a cool thing. I believe this will be year 13, I want to say. 13 or 14. And we play games for 24 straight hours to help kids at the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. You can pick any hospital in the United States or Canada. You can sign up, go to extra-life.org, and you'll find it. It'll pop right up for you. And you can, like I said, sign up, participate yourself, or you can donate to others. And like I said, when you sign up yourself, you could pick Gables. He picked the Children's Hospital in Seattle. I picked the Children's Hospital in Iowa City. That's the one, if you are a football fan at all, or if you know, it's the Iowa City Hospital that connected to the Iowa Hawkeye football stadium. So at the end of every first quarter, they turn and wave to all the kids that are in the hospital watching the game. So it's really cool. Like the kids can actually, the hospital is so tall, the kids get to go up with the families and watch the game from the hospital. Really cool thing. And at the end of every first quarter, they do the wave, as we call it. I went to go do this, but I decided to wear my Portillo Konami shirt instead of my Do the Wave shirt. Should have wore that instead, since Iowa did actually win the game today. But yeah. We do that. This will be year 11 for me. This will be year 10 for Gables. Really cool thing that everybody does. I think they've raised over $80 million in their time doing this. Just goes up every year. I think last year they raised over $12 million. So, like I said, really cool thing. You play games for 24 straight hours, and you raise awareness and just kind of get to take donations to help kids out. So really cool thing. I think when we get closer, Gables and I are gonna sit down. We'll just do a podcast about kind of our thoughts and tips and plans for Extra Life this year.
That sounds good.
Yeah, maybe like a month, because it's crazy. We're like 5-6 weeks out now from that thing. So yeah, like when I added that, when I was thinking about last week, I'm like, oh my god, that's like not even 2 months away, and now here it's just getting close. Like next week's gonna be October, which is nuts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I just thinking of it not right now. One, it's crazy that it's getting that close to Extra Life, but two, if I'm gonna be sitting my freaking ass down for 24 hours and stuff, it's gotta be in another goddamn chair, because this chair that I'm fucking sitting in right now, it pisses me off because every time you get sweat or something like that, it's literally just going like sticks onto the goddamn wood of the chair.
You got a wooden Gables. So people don't know, Gables' old chair broke a few weeks ago. It's the last 3 episodes. He's been sitting in this wooden chair. I don't know how he does it, because
it's actually a mixture of like a wooden chair, but it's got a fucking metal back railing and stuff.
Oh god, yeah.
And the thing about it is, I've had it for like a good solid 3 or 4 years, right? And, like my mom was using it at one point, and all of a sudden it's like, well, it was in the hallway, might as well use it. And
yeah,
I'll tell you what, after about a week and a half or so of sitting in this chair, I'm like, yeah, I'm just about done with this.
yeah. Well, this chair I have here. People. Sorry for audio listeners. You should subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just look up DrunkNerds Podcast. You'll find us, and subscribe and follow and ring the bell, all that fun stuff. And if you are listening to us anywhere else, or if you listen to us on YouTube, thank you. Hit that like button. Hit that like button over by Gables Junk Area. It makes it very happy. And look in the show notes. You'll find all the links to all of our podcasts and Twitter and Facebook and all that. But I bought this chair 5 years ago. It was like $200. I don't know. That's a lot of money for me. I don't know if that's a lot for a chair. But it's not like a crazy awesome brand or anything. I found it at Gables. Remember the store Staplers?
No, I don't.
It was like an Office Depot type store. So I bought it from there like 5 years ago. So and that place is no longer around. Maybe I should have waited maybe one more year. I probably could have got this for like $50. But Yeah, it's not bad. But this is been like, so I literally bought this the week before Extra Life in 2017,
Yeah.
and I've been sitting in it for the last, this will be my fifth, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 6 Extra Life in this chair. And it's a comfortable chair. When we do this, we usually bullshit for an hour or two, and then we do the podcast. So usually I'll sit in this thing for 3.5, up to 4 hours when we do this every Saturday night. And I feel good. I feel comfortable. My back doesn't hurt. My ass feels good. But yeah, in this thing, Gables, I don't think there's any chair, any bed, anything that's comfortable for 24 straight hours. So when we do this, I usually put a pillow on my back, and I'll put like a towel down eventually on this thing to sit on, because there's nothing comfortable. After about hour 12, you're just trying to find a position to get good in. But yeah. extra-life.org, people.
Dude, I'll tell you one thing though. You did give me a good idea, because my fucking Office Depot is liquidating a lot of this shit. I'm gonna go by there and see if I can find something decent.
You have a fucking Office Depot still?
Well, we had an Office Depot, but yet it's going out of business in about another.
Okay, Gables. This still doesn't make sense to me. The fact there's an Office Depot still around, and wow. Okay.
Well, you want to hear something really crazy? In the span of the past 3 years, 1, our GameStop closed down. 2,
I'm so sorry for that.
Our freaking JCPenney's closed down. 3, the Sears building that we had closed down, and now the Office Depot thing closed down as well.
Gables, JCPenney's and Sears were like 2 of our bigger businesses on this side of my town in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Like they made up the mall. We have a mall called Southridge Mall, and it's like it was like the hangout place of like my parents' youth and my youth. And by the time my sister was born, and she was like of like that teenage age, it was like a shell of itself.
Wow.
And like, but it had like the JCPenney and Sears in there, and those things have been gone for over a decade. So it's hilarious to me that you just lost those things, because like we lost those, like those were like the main points of our town, and we lost them over a decade ago.
That's the thing, man, because I live so far out, like from the bigger cities and stuff like that. They're finally now closing down.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes more
shells of their former self.
Yeah, that makes more sense. It's because you live in small towns, so they probably they last a lot longer. So our problem is like
Kmart.
Yeah, well, you guys have a fucking Kmart, really?
We've had a Kmart like in Los Angeles. We had a Kmart in Port Angeles until like about 97, and that was back in...
I don't know why we keep mentioning these stores, and you're like, well, we had one.
Oh, man. It's just one of those things, listeners, to where it's like
I'm crying.
It's like when you go through and you have a whole bunch of these different type of retailers and all these different stores, and you have fond memories of like growing up, like actually getting some of your games or getting some of the other stuff right there, and then all of a sudden they go through and just start closing down randomly and shit. When I mention Kmart, I'm thinking retroactively, because the last time I was in a Kmart was back in 1997, and that was when they were liquidating their Super Nintendo and 64 games.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I remember having we had a Kmart, like, we lost the Kmart in, like, probably the 90s as well, but there was one on the other side of town, that was, like, the more of the ghetto area of town.
Oh.
And there was a Super Kmart as well, and yeah, those are long gone, so I thought, like, I'm like, are you telling me there's still, like, there was Kmart's recently, and then you said we had one in 97.
Dude, Tyler, there are still Kmart's open across the United States, including in Washington State, and I don't know how.
Yeah, okay, this is fucking, this is like, I don't know how we got from Extra Life to this, but we're here.
Because I mentioned Office Depot, and you're like, Office Depot?
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't know what a stapler, Staples, no. Not staplers, Staples. Yeah, that was a. Yeah.
You want to hear something pretty funny, Tyler?
Yeah.
We had a Staples too.
I'm sure you did. That's where I got this shirt from. 5 years ago, and then it was gone like a year later. Okay, This is a video game podcast where we talk about video games. I swear to you, we're 15 minutes in, and we're just now gonna get to that stuff. But wow, if you suck through that, thank you. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna write down the section if we talk about Kmart's for a little bit.
Okay, so we go from the extra life stuff.
Yeah, now we're gonna talk about topics.
Let's go into the agenda.
Yes, let's get into the agenda this week. Kind of it's been a pretty crazy video game stretch of news. It feels like for quite a while.
Yes.
It's really since like Gamescom, I would say, for like a month, and then we had like a mini E3 going on with like Ubisoft and the D23, and we had the State of Play, and we had the Nintendo Direct and all that. We're getting back down to like normal times. Usually, like it feels like when games are coming out, there's less news, and then when there's no games come out, there's more news. And now some games are coming out, and there's not as much news, but still some interesting stuff going on here, Gables. So apparently there is a new PS5 model planning to come out. Right now, planned for around September of next year. So that's 2023. It is a PS5 that will have a detachable disk drive. It will connect. These PS5s will have an extra USB-C port in the back of the console, and you can attach this detachable disk drive to it. So this is all coming from. I want to give a shout out here to Tom Henderson, who is a really good leaker that I follow on Twitter. He mostly leaks like Fortnite and like Call of Duty stuff, but he's been known to leak some other things as well. And he's actually he leaked he broke kind of not really broke. He didn't find the story, but he's the first one to really report on the story. We'll talk about that next. But this is all from him from his new website he just launched this week called InsideGaming.com. Also from this, it's understood that this new PS5 console will be sold on its own or in a bundle with a detachable disk drive. It's also understood that this disk drive can also be purchased separately. So if it gets busted, there's no need to buy an entirely different one or entirely new console. It's supposed to be more portable, so it's going to be smaller. So it sounds like it almost kind of reminds me of like when the 360 came out. It didn't have like an Ethernet port in it. Which is hilarious because Nintendo launched a console like 5 years ago and didn't have one. And the last two consoles they've launched didn't have one. So like the 360 didn't have one when it launched in 05.
True.
It was 05. Yeah, 05. And
they didn't even have an HDMI port at that time.
Yeah, well, I mean, back then, you remember you had to buy the HD cord separately for like $30 because it only came with it only came with the red, yellow, white. So then the Xbox 360 Elite came out, I believe in 08, and that one, the big deal with that one, had built-in Wi-Fi and Ethernet port. So this kind of sounds like it's that in a way. So it's kind of, I've seen some like people like kind of freaking out initially. Like I'm like, oh, okay, so like this is bad. And then I read it and I'm like, what are we mad about on this one? Because it sounds like, okay, it sucks if you bought the $400 PS5 that, or I don't know what the new price point is for people in the other countries. But for us, it's $400 US. And say you bought that at launch and you kind of regret it, you can just buy this disk drive and hook into it. The only downside is you only have the one USB-C port. So this one will have a second USB-C port on the back. I think there's two on the current models right now because I think my camera is plugged into one and then my charging cable is plugged into the other. But you can buy things like for your charging port for your controller. So this will have two on the back and one on the front, it sounds like. So it sounds like, hey, this is a decent option for people that if you bought the digital one to save $100 initially, boom, you could buy this, hook up to it, solve that problem. Maybe it's not, I don't know how it's going to look cosmetically. Probably not going to look great. Cause it doesn't sound like it. I don't know how, so if it's just hooking up to a cord, I doubt so it's obviously not connecting to the console in any way. But, I don't know. I mean, obviously depending on price point, cause like from what I understand and everybody says about the disk drives, the disk drives only cost to like manufacturing wise, like $1, for the consoles. So it's kind of crazy that they took the disk drive out of the console and then charged $100 less for it when like it's a $1, one a couple buck piece maybe. So depending on what they charge in the market for it, that doesn't sound. This sounds like a pretty good deal. Like I mean, maybe if they charge $100 for it, maybe that's a little crazy. But I could see them doing it because like, hey, you pay the, but or if there's $50, not a bad deal. I don't know. I think it's better than. I mean, it's an option better than no option. But I don't know. I mean, give us what's your thoughts on this potential disk drive?
All right, so for this suspected disk drive PS5, this I'm assuming this is going to be an external one, like you were just saying. You plug it into a
Yeah,
USB-C port, it's something extra. My first thought when I thought about it was like, this is a perfect way for them to charge a bit more in regards to having that supposed like price increase for the PS5 stateside. I can only speculate that because you going through and you're going to launch the model of the PS5, this new model supposedly next year. And then you have like the baseline stuff that we have right now, which is $500. But if you have two different types of bundles and stuff, one that doesn't have that detachable disk drive, and then like one that does have it and stuff like that. Yeah, in this way, you do have the option for the consumer to where, hey, if you want this disk drive and stuff, you can buy it separately for this amount in regards to the price and stuff. But if you have this specific type of like if you like what you were saying before, if you had like a digital only PS5 with the one USB-C port and stuff, and you had and if you choose to get like this disk drive thing for it, yeah, you're quintessentially paying a little bit more for it. But I the reason why I thought this could potentially lead to say like having Sony having their price thing higher for their PS5 in the States, kind of like similar to what they had done for like other countries. It's like this is a good far way to go forth and charge more for something and then like not like have something like concrete in regards to like say bundles like for their initial set console. That was the first thought that popped into mind. Now whether or not this will happen that way or not, I'm uncertain. But what I can say is for the suspected PS5 model coming like about 2, 3 years after the first PS5, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Sony has done it multiple times through all of their consoles and even some of their handhelds as well, the PSP and the Vita, and like obviously tracing back to the original PlayStation. So these type of reiterations or redesigns are nothing new.
yeah.
In regards to this, it kind of makes me wonder one, the price point of this detachable this external disk drive. Two, the specific type of models of the PS5, we could speculate more in regards to just more than say the USB ports, because apparently it's going to have two USB-C ports, one in the front, one in the back.
Well,
But the
so the new one will have three, because the current ones have two, one in the front, one in the back. So
okay,
this one will have
okay,
the one in the front for the charging cable, and then two on the back.
okay. So that I wasn't aware of in that regards, but when it comes down to it, it kind of makes me wonder more so of the suspecting of like the console itself, this specific type of model. Usually they take stuff away or reiterate or revise some stuff in when they go forth and launch another version of the same console. Like for example, when Sony relaunched the original PlayStation, some of the first launch like models had not only the RF switch port, not only did it have like some bit of like maybe some AV stuff at first,
Mm.
it also had specific type of a serial port on the side of it to where you could allow for something and now correct me if I'm wrong, but like for like SCART ports and all the other stuff that you could connect onto the back of that. But with later models and stuff, they removed those particular types of like features and stuff to probably cut some bits of cost, especially when it came towards the later half of its life cycle with the PS1 console to where it was just AV only. It was much more compatible in regards to the portability of it. It did run better in regards to the hardware and also in terms of like not just the disk drive stuff, but it was a better version of its original console and stuff. But there were features that were taken out of that current stuff. But the main thing that we have to look for in regards to maybe speculating further about this next version of this PS5, it's like what type of consolidations and stuff are they going to make for this version? Hearing about this detachable drive does have me worried somewhat because it's like the pricing that they will use for the disk drive could be like what you were saying, maybe $50. It could be higher than that. It could be like possibly like a $70 to a $90 investment,
Yeah, but if
especially.
it's. I mean, yeah, that's probably pretty high for what it's gonna cost them to make it. But it's still, if it's still cheaper than if you can buy a digital version and then buy the disc drive for less than what it costs to buy the full-fledged PS5 with the disc
Right.
built-in one, it's still like, I mean, if you don't care about the cosmetic side of things, I mean, if you might save you 20, $50 maybe, like maybe that's worth it to some people.
Maybe that is worth it to some people. I do
Yeah.
agree with you if you want to
Yeah.
go that route.
So
But if
you're thinking this more like this could be like the PS5 Slim in a way. Is that what you're thinking?
it has the potential of being that, Tyler. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been hearing consistent rumors of this next iteration of this PS5 being maybe a little bit lighter, maybe being like some form factors of it, and then all of a sudden now we're hearing reports of it having the detachable disk drive. You know, that's definitely something to where it's much more like customizable from that aspect as
Mhm.
opposed to what the PS5 is currently, where you could replace the shelves, you could replace the fans. I know I've done that with mine already, but
Yeah.
at that aspect and stuff, you have disk drive stuff, which kind of makes me question maybe the quality of that model's disk drive if there is the form factor and stuff of a detachable one already. But
Mm.
that's just remains to be seen at this point. But yeah, I do have my concerns and I do have my hopes that this is going to be a cheaper PS5 coming out into market and also worthwhile for people that are just diving into the ecosystem come 2023
Yeah.
potentially.
I could almost look at this like this could replace the digital edition, where it's just like it's
Yes,
maybe they're gonna maybe they don't call it the Slim, but it's just like, hey, it's like this is just taking the place of the Slim, but it's like, hey, it's almost like, I almost look at this like, we have like the regular Switch, we have the Switch Lite, and then we have the Switch OLED. We have the three tiers. Maybe this could be the third tier of those, or maybe this is just replacing, like I said, that digital edition. And yeah, like,
it,
I mean, the big thing about the PS5, is everybody said, it was like when they broke the thing open was like they kind of went a little crazy, like they kind of overcompensated for the fans and the size of it, and like we've been hearing about how they've slowly been cutting plastic out and changing things. So maybe this is just more of that. But go ahead, Gables.
well, let's look at it this way. There's a possibility where it could just outright replace the current PS5 in general, the physical one.
I don't think it's going to replace the main one. I think that one's here to stay. But I do think that when the PS6, the next Xbox comes out, that
Mm.
I would not be stunned if they all, this is just how it is, where it's like it doesn't have a disk drive built in, but it has like you can buy external one hook up.
I see. I see what you mean.
Like I
I
think
mean,
this
it
might be
makes
the
sense
future.
too. I mean, granted, yeah, I'm with you there and stuff. This next iteration could be similar to that of like say what Xbox is doing right now with Series X and Series S, like kind of like similar to what PlayStation was initially doing with the PS5, the digital and physical edition. But yeah,
Mm.
I could see where it could potentially just replace the digital only version of the PS5 because, well, let's be perfectly frank here. You see a lot more of the physical ones available more so than the digital ones. And
Yeah.
so to try to reintroduce the digital one to kind of more emphasize since Microsoft's been pretty much hitting it out of the park with the Series S being consistently in stores and
Yeah.
stuff and
It's so much cheaper to
so we
make,
do
and
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
smaller. Yeah,
and it's
because you can.
yeah,
Yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah, it's cheaper. I mean, but the problem is the PS4 and PS5, or the PS5 digital and PS5 hard drive one, or with the disk drive in it. Like I said, the price to make those things is a couple dollars, and they're charging $100 less for it. I could
Yep.
see why they are, I don't know what the say it's 90% disk drive. I can see why they're doing that, because like we're not really saving. We're not, we're not like we're not passing. We're passing the savings on to you. We're like the Series S is a less powerful version of the Series X. So like, yeah, like they charge $300, and like they're like still probably losing money on that transaction, but
Right.
we're buying Game Pass. Which, Gables, what's Game Pass?
Currently and for foreseeable, it's the best deal in gaming.
You're goddamn right. Till the day we goddamn die. But Gables, I did mention that the next news
Yes.
story was also coming from this website I mentioned, Inside Gaming. Well, check it out. They don't have a lot yet. Like I said, they just started. But I am someone that pays attention to Tom Henderson, and I think he does good work. So we got to talk about Dan Allen. And you might, when I say that name, Dan Allen, you might be saying, who? And Gables, I don't know about you, but I said the exact same thing. Who?
Initially, yes.
Okay, so Gables just didn't know who it was either. So there was that Twitter account that popped up called The Snitch that popped up back in May that was leaking a lot of shit back during for like E3 or Summer Game Fest related stuff, and he's been kind of like posting shit. And he hasn't he posts kind of seldomly now. Like he hasn't posted since like mid-August. It's been over a month since he's posted. And then I think it was like June or July. This new Twitter account popped up called The Real Insider, and he's been posting a lot. And I just found him probably about a month ago, but I mean he's been spot on as well. He's been posting more frequently. He's been posting a lot of stuff, and it's been pretty crazy. Some of he's posting. Some people people have their people know about The Snitch. Like he leaked the Persona coming to Xbox. He leaked Hollow Knight Silksong coming to Xbox Game Pass. I mean, he's leaked everything. So a lot of people have their theories that he is like someone that works for YouTube, and he can see like because a lot of these video game conferences, they're pre-recorded, so they just got posted to YouTube, and you can watch if you're behind the scenes, you can watch them beforehand, and he's like tweeting out leaks. So there was some. Like I said, I only found this the Real Snitch was his Twitter handle. I believe it's still around, but it's done now. So there's some rumors about like Jason Schreier and a few other people were like, okay, this guy is like he's got to be like in like the journalist world, or he's got to be in the content creator world or something, because like he's posting things that like people that will like get to watch like these events, or get to watch something, or do a preview for a game before it gets announced or revealed or whatever, and this person is tweeting out leaks from those things almost immediately after these events are happening. So like, because usually these preview events or something like that, they happen at the same time for everybody, and then like they get to write their articles, and they have like 3 or 4 days before it goes live. But he's like tweeting them basically as he's leaving the room. He's tweeting this shit out on this account. Well, come to find out, this YouTube channel is called Dan Allen Gaming. He has about 190,000 subscribers rather. Or he did. I don't know about now. So he fucked up, and he meant to tweet from the real. He meant to so he was commenting on a leak that he posted, and he meant the tweet from his the Real Insider Twitter account, but he tweeted from his actual Twitter account, Dan Allen Gaming. It responded to that tweet with his own account, and then people figured out real fast, oh, he fucked up. Kind of a Kevin Durant moment here.
Yes, it was a Kevin Durant moment.
Yeah, so people don't know.
Accounts for bashing his teammates.
Yeah, so like people don't know Kevin Durant, very good Hall of Fame basketball player. He was found out that he had an alternate Twitter account, and he would go on and like talk shit about his teammates, or he would like defend Kevin Durant with his Twitter account, and then did the exact same thing where he accidentally tweeted with his real Kevin Durant Twitter account, and he meant to respond with his alternate account. And this has been it's been a meme for years now. So this guy basically did the exact same thing. So come to find out, basically exactly what he had been doing was exactly what people thought. So Jason Schreier actually did like a deep dive, which is hilarious because Jason Schreier is on I think he's on like paternity leave, or he's on like a really long break from work. And he said a couple weeks ago, he's like, hope a lot of gaming news doesn't happen while I'm on my leave. And then immediately the same day he said that was the day that the Nintendo Direct and State of Play was announced. And so everything has happened in gaming since he's went on vacation. And so while he's on vacation, he did a breakdown. He went on like this deep dive on Twitter, and like found like he's posting stuff on his Twitter, on this Real Insider Gaming account, and on his actual game account, the Dan Allen account, like almost simultaneously, like he's posting his own personal YouTube videos about like he like did a thing about, I guess I didn't see this till later, but he posted about how like the Saints Row stuff was not looking great, and almost like an hour later he posted a video about Saints Row being bad, and like so Jason Schreier did this whole thing about was like finding like the gaps between him saying this on the Real Insider thing and then putting a YouTube video about that same thing. Or like the opinions were exactly the same. So reading through some of this Insider Gaming stuff, gaming YouTube, Dan Allen Game is allegedly the person behind the increasingly popular at The Real Insider on Twitter. In a bizarre twist, it appears that Dan forgot to change his Twitter profile when replying to someone that was asking a question to The Real Insider on Twitter. It's alleged that Dan Allen Gaming is The Real Insider after its account was deleted almost immediately after the screenshot was posted. In addition, Dan Allen Gaming on Twitter has also been deleted. So both accounts have been deleted. Okay. The news might not be substantial to some, but the apparent mistake from Dan was he meant that he was very likely been caught breaking NDA information. So that's the big issue. This is like legal. This is like a legal activity he was doing. The Real Insider became incredibly popular following a leak that revealed all these Assassin's Creed titles that would be released by Ubisoft. It's unclear what exactly will happen, but Insider Gaming has requested comment from Dan following the events. Blah blah blah. So, update: Dan Allen has admitted on Twitter that he did this, and then there's a second update here that Dan Allen Gaming has since taken to his YouTube channel to apologize. In his apology, Dan admitted to breaking the NDA's material of Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed, but stated that the majority of the leaks were educated guesses. The Silent Hill rumor was one leak. And that's kind of the guess that kind of made him very popular, was like he was leaking stuff about Silent Hill. In particular, that Dan had admitted to be false. So I guess he lied about that one. Dan said the reason that for the account was because of the clout and the buzz of thousands of people waiting on what you're going to say. He continued with an apology to the community, content creators, journalists, developers, and PR, with whom he built a long-term relationship over years. So yeah, what an idiot. And I'm not going to try to kick the guy while he's down. He made a mistake. This isn't like a one-time mistake. This isn't like, oh, well, we tripped, fell, and all our clothes fell off. And, this is like, you do this repeatedly. You did it for months. But I'm not going to like keep kicking, like I said, kicking the horse while he's down here. But what an idiot. And it's stunning when, like, if you have like substantial actual leaks, that's one thing. That's reporting. Like you're doing a job of a journalist. When you're literally signing NDAs, you're being trusted with this information. So a lot of people like, I was listening to Greg Miller talk about this because I was kind of interested from the journalist side of things. People have been doing this for a long time, and the content creator side, like what their thoughts were on this. And I was listening to like a lot of different opinions about like that side of things. And he said like stuff like this is like, you are making this. You made this. By doing this, you made this worse for everybody else. Because now it's like our jobs are harder because of one ass. It only takes one asshole for anything, and this one asshole fucked it up. Maybe not fucked up, but made it probably way more challenging for a lot of people. And like I said, he did it for clout, and I can understand it. Like that sounds like that shit could be easily like you get a good following like that, especially something like this where like, I mean, what blew up was when Jeff Keighley and like a couple other people like Jay Schreier, stuff like that started following him. It's like that's when like, okay, this guy's real. Like this isn't just like him just tweeting shit. But like you don't, it's like Jeff Grubb leaks a lot of stuff, but like at least like there's a direct benefit to Jeff Grubb. I love Jeff Grubb. I'm a Patreon supporter of his, so take that for you will. But like there's a lot of things I like about the guy, but like there's a correlation for his by leaking a lot of stuff. People know who Jeff Grubb is now, and he's a very good podcast. He's very good at his job, but like the leaks thing is what got him big. So there's a reason for him for doing these things. There's a reason why Jason Schreier is so big. Is like not only is he a great reporter, but he has a lot of people that he knows. He can leak a lot of stuff. He has a lot of inside information on things. But when you're just tweeting from an anonymous Twitter account, what's the benefit?
That's a good question. What is the benefit from having an anonymous Twitter account in regards to this situation?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. Like, I don't know, Gables. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say into it, but when I found out the case on this one, I was baffled by this.
The fact that he did it for mostly Twitter clout infuriates me on multiple different levels because one, not only did he go through and stick his foot potentially inside the fire and burned himself severely, but at the same time, he's at the tail front now of all sorts of legal litigation against
Yes.
him because of him breaking multiple NDAs, some of which on the same day that he eventually like signed these NDAs. The
Mhm.
dude was a predominant YouTuber. He sacrificed his entire career for Twitter clout. And the fact of stupidity that he went through in order to do this stuff, and simultaneously, not only, oh sure, he spilled a whole bunch of different information that people have been clamoring probably to get,
Mhm.
but at the same point, he just did a complete and utter fucking like burning the bridges for almost everybody involved to where it makes it much more harder for some of these people that have been working closely with the companies that are doing their due diligence and purposely not trying to abuse the trust of them. That at this point and stuff, you're looking at game companies that are going to be like fairly lip tight now in regards to any other
Yeah.
types of information stuff. Before, we've already understood the basis that a lot of these game journalists, they of course they know a lot of these insider type of stuff that companies are allowing them to have, but now because of one person doing this stuff and like literally abusing his privileges and stuff, it creates an entire like freaking domino effect to where now you're probably not going to see too many people know too much in regards to some of the insider information in regards to like say some stuff for like say the YouTube front, or even so for some of the journalists and stuff. It's going to be maybe a much more loops they're going to have to jump through in order to progress and get some of this information, signing additional NDAs, maybe have multiple different conditions, or even in some cases, maybe travel into a location and stuff and do it kind of like how some things were before.
Yeah.
But the fact remains, is Stan Allen Gaming, this dude, I don't care. I'm going to beat the shit out of this goddamn horse until it's nice and nice and just firmed into the ground, man. What a fucking piece of shit for doing this.
Mhm.
Because at the same point, man, it's like you made a career to where you wanted to try to go forth and like inform and probably entertain people in regards to gaming, and then you just went into business for yourself and you freaking just decided to just screw over thousands of people for your own fucking
Yeah.
benefit. And that is disgusting.
Yeah. What a dumbass. Um. So yeah. But Gables, we're gonna take a little break because I had to go pee. So.
Alrighty, no
All right,
problem.
I'm gonna pause the recording. We'll be right back, folks. Alrighty, and we're back. Sorry for that. Daddy had a tinkle. Why did I call myself Daddy? What the fuck is wrong with me? Jesus Christ. So moving on here, Gables, to some other interesting news here. So this leaked a while ago. But EA Motive, people that are making the Dead Space remake. So like I said, Jeff Grubb, Tom Henderson as well also leaked this. They are making an Iron Man game. They officially announced it. It is a single-player, third-person action-adventure title. It's currently in pre-production, but it's being developed, like I said, by Motive, who also, like I said, making the Dead Space remake. But kind of interesting little news here. I don't not too much to add on this one, but it's interesting because like there's still because Dead Space comes out at the end of January, but. It's like, what if Dead Space is like really, really popular? It's like, are we gonna make a 2? Like, are we gonna remake 2, or are we gonna just like? I mean, like, cause I don't know how big that team is, but I don't know. I was kind of surprised that like when I heard the rumors, I'm like, oh, okay, it's interesting. But then like, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work with like. I mean, obviously you have people working on it right now, but like what's gonna happen? Like, can you imagine like Dead Space 1 blows up and it's bigger than. It's because I think like Dead Space 1 originally only sold like 1 million copies. Dead Space 2 sold a couple million copies.
Right.
So if this comes out and it sells 5-6 million copies or more, I imagine they're gonna want like, well, fuck, we gotta make Dead Space 2 remake. It's like, what are we gonna do then? Because well, now you're making Iron Man. Also, are they gonna use the Anthem engine? Because you know what, Anthem, not a great game, but the flying in that game, fucking pretty cool. So I mean, like, you should just call BioWare, hey, can we get the flying stuff? And that will save you probably a lot of time right there. If we could just get that aspect.
I'm sure those discussions probably have been held
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah. I mean, if not, what the fuck are we doing here? Because that was the whole thing about Anthem. Was like, cool, they made Iron Man the video game, and then they just put out a bad game. But I don't know. I mean, I know you're not the biggest Marvel guy, but I mean, kind of what's your thoughts on potentially like a full-fledged Iron Man game?
I think this has the potential of being a pretty fun game as long as they focus upon the core aspects of what makes Iron Man, and also in terms of what enemies he's going to go forth and face off against inside of a long-term game. Because there's things we could speculate what it can be and stuff, but you gotta imagine it's probably going to be some form of like majorly having to do with flight,
Oh
obviously.
yeah. Hopefully, it's better than the Sega movie tying Iron Man game.
Oh, dude, yeah, I remember that back in the day. That sucked ass.
Yeah, I think that might have been one of the last big movie tying games. But it's also interesting because, like, yeah, I that might have been the one that broke it. Man, I remember like when those games with like the movie tying games would come out, and people are like, "That game's actually very good. It's a really good game." And like you come play, I'm like, "This is like a 7." Like, yeah, okay, this is a really good movie tying game. Like, that was how low the bar was. I remember when Transformers, the first Transformer movie came out, they made a Transformers game based off the movie.
Yeah, they did.
And, like, this is, like, early 360 era. So not a lot coming out at this point. And it came out, and, like, this is, like, summer of '07. So this is before, like, we had the boom of, like, Rock Band, Mario Galaxy, Bioshock, and Orange Box, and Mass Effect, and all that shit. I remember playing that, and I was just like, this ain't bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's like, so I don't know. But I don't know. But also interesting because like the EA is also making a Black Panther game. So I mean, yeah, some cool times. And then we also have the Black Panther Amy Hennig game. So I mean, interesting things going on here. But Gables, let's move on to one of my favorite topics of the month. Probably not one of, it's probably my favorite topic of the month. I sent you the a screenshot of the top 20 games, but we're talking about the August NPDs. So some interesting news on this before we get into all that. So hardware overall sales are down 9% compared to 2021, but surprisingly, sales are up 3% if you compare it to 2020. For the month of August. Kind of shocking, but hardware, like I said, hardware sales are up 14%. And this mostly has to do compared to last year, which is shocking because that's, we're talking about this is the the second year now of consoles being out there. So, but it also sounds like the fact that the PS5 and Xbox are more regularly attainable. PS5, I mean, obviously they're still hard to find, but it seems like now at this point, if you really are like giving some effort at all, you can probably get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, especially Series X. But if you want a Series S, you can just fucking buy one whenever you want. And then we've been seeing that regularly where like the Series S has been like the best selling console pretty much every month because just how easy it is to obtain. You mentioned that earlier in the podcast as well. So
yes,
that's a lot to do. So it sounds like, hey, we're it seems I've been saying this the last few months now. We're getting better. So there is an end in sight and the terribleness of trying to find one. But Gables, so what the fun part here? What's that with the top 20 games of the month of August? Top 20 selling games. This is based off of obviously not units sold, but dollars earned.
right.
So sometimes you're like, how'd that game pop up in here? Like, well, there's probably $100 edition, shit like that. So, which will be the case for one of the games coming up here. But number 20, we're starting off here. Pokemon Legends Arceus, holding in. It's dropped some spots, but we're now on the point now where some newer games are starting to come out. So we're going to see a lot of games that have been just holding firm in these top spots or been holding firm in the top 20 spots. Probably going to start falling out here soon. So Legends Arceus dropped from 15 to 20, so probably going to see that go away. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim popped up in the 19, but it was 24 the month before. I guess there was like a big sale going on or something like that, so that has a lot to do with it. Number 18, dropping all the way from 11, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Number 17 here, jumping back in from last month. Their 31st was Gran Turismo 7. I guess they had like a sale going on. So there's a big PlayStation sale going on in the month of August. So we're gonna see some PS5 games pop back in to this because of that. So I think there was it was going up like normally $70. It was on sale for I think like $50 during the month of August. Smash Bros. Ultimate hanging in there at number 16. We have a brand new game at number 15, Soul Hackers 2. So yeah,
Wow.
the game's been reviewing
surprised
fairly
by that.
well. Yeah. So pretty good for them. Number 14 here, Far Cry 6. Number 13, dropping all the way from 5th, Call of Duty Vanguard.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty surprising on that one.
Wow.
Number, yeah, right. I don't think I've seen a Call of Duty game drop that fast before the new one comes out. So, but we know.
Don't think I've seen it come down to that portion of the top 20. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, not yeah. Usually, we won't be. Sometimes we'll see the last 3 Call of Duty games on the list at the same time because the one from 2 years ago will be fading out as a new one pops. The new one from this year comes out. But I mean, the 2021 edition already fell out. Cold War. Cold War was 2020. It was 2021. Oh, 2021 was Vanguard. Never mind. But normally, sometimes you'll see 3 in there. So that it's the fact that we're seeing 1 falling out fairly quickly here.
Right.
It's pretty. I mean, we already know Vanguard was a pretty big disappointment for them. Still made a ton of money, but overall disappointment for them. Number 12 here, popping it back in from the 28 spot, Horizon 2 Forbidden West. So like I said, there's a big PlayStation sale. And also, whenever you buy a PS5, there's the only way you can pretty much get a PS5 at this point is by buying the Horizon bundle. If you buy from the store,
Yep.
PS Direct, the only way to buy it is if you buy the $550 edition. But it's still if you're going to buy a PlayStation 5, you're probably going to buy this game and you get it for $20 off. So not a bad deal.
True.
But the game's been selling at pretty much at $50 for a while now. Fairly regularly, you can get it on sale. Number 8. Holding firm here is number 11 rather. It was number 8 last month. Digimon Survive.
I'm surprised it's lasted more than a month.
I believe it came out at the very end of July, so it got a big boost because it was the launch weekend, and then it's had a full month being fairly new on the market in August. I think that's why. Do not quote me on that. Number 10 though, dropping down for number 4. But hey. It just came out July 29th, so kind of like a Digimon Survive situation here. In one weekend, it sold enough to get to number 4. But here we are, a full month on the market. Number 10, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So, hey, doing pretty good here. Number 9, falling from 6 to 9. Hey. MLB The Show, 22. So pretty good for a game that launched on Game Pass. Number 8, finally starting to see some of the big games that pretty much the Skywalker Saga has been in the top 2 spots every month since launch back in April. Dropped all the way to number 8 though. Skywalker Saga did. Minecraft holding at number 7. Mario Kart 8 number 6. Number 5 dropping from number 1 last month. Multiverses, and that has to do with people buying the Finder pack. That's why that was number 1 last month, or number 1 in July, number 5 in August. Number 4, Elden Ring for the first time ever, dropping out of the top 2 positions since February. So number 4 though, hey, still doing really good. Jumping all the way from 84th to 3rd, Marvel's Spider-Man, and that's because of the PC launch.
Oh yes.
So no shock there. And I think one that I think surprised all of us, Saints Row number 2.
Yeah, that is surprising. It sold that well throughout all the negativity of it.
So, I guess, I mean, that's not super surprising. It did come in August, not a big month, but also, I gotta imagine this was pre-orders and early people buying it early and that just don't read reviews. But obviously, this is probably one of the worst. This is the worst scoring game of of the bigger games. I don't know if you want to call it, if you want to put this in the AAA spectrum or top tier AA spectrum. This is the worst scoring game of the year. It's not even in the 70s. Typically when you put out a big AAA game, it's gonna the bottom is usually the worst you're gonna do is a 7. And the fact this is I think it's a 66 or something like that on OpenCritic or something right now.
The only one I think it's lower than that I think release this year. It's like Crossfire X.
Crossfire XO is not a AAA game, and
Oh, no.
that's only the campaign, and the multiplayer I heard is fine, but it's yeah,
Okay.
the campaign, yeah, it's probably the worst game of the year, of like a game that has any clout to it, but yeah. But this is like a game that's like, this is a known big time franchise of like the last 15 years, and come out and just be pretty bad. It's pretty disappointing. But I guess what's interesting is they, in like a conference call, they were talking about this game, and they're pretty disappointed in the overall reaction to the game. But the game is not profitable yet, but it sounds like it will be over time. So hey, at least they're gonna make money on this one. It's not. This is not like what was that game called? Something Mayhem, Minute Mayhem. The one they put out.
Yeah.
The game they put out between Saints Row 4 and the new Saints Row
It's
game.
something of mayhem, but it's
Yeah.
like it's definitely like their style of like a Saints Row kind of spin-off sort of game.
Yeah.
That did not do too well.
Yeah, it was like that game came out and no one gave a shit at all. I think that thing was like, it was literally selling for under $20 within a few months. So, they could not give that game away. But yeah, so at least, hey, like, there's still some name value in that Saints Row title. I just hope they didn't destroy what name value is left of it, and I hope that if they do go back to Saints Row eventually, and let's say it comes out and it's good, people will give it another chance to like come back and play it, because like we hear about this all the time. It's not the game that's bad that gets punished. It's the game that comes out after the bad game that gets punished.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, sounds like it's gonna be profitable, John. I do think it's like, it sounds like if they fix a lot of the bug issues, even after that, it's still not a great game. But like if it comes out like and they fix all the issues, if I could, like, this would be like a great, like, if it comes to Game Pass one day, like I would definitely want to give it a try. Because
Right.
I don't know, I'm someone that I love those games back today. But number one, no surprise, Gables, game coming out for August for the 23rd consecutive year. Madden 23 is the number one game of the month. So for the entirety of the history of NPDs, they've been tracking this for 23 years now. In the month of August, Madden is the number one best-selling game of the year. No surprise. Seems like, I mean, like, I love this game. I think it's much improved over previous years, and it seems like that's the case so people feel that way overall as well. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, any thoughts, Gables, looking at this top 20 list?
I'm not really too surprised with the list, honestly. I mean, Spider-Man bumping up the way it did, yeah, that's because of the Steam release. Everything else, though, is that subsequential sales or something, or like little bits of like, just little bits of like fatigue in regards to some bits of games that are drifting down. But Madden being a number one is no surprise to me. Regardless of what EA does with the game, people are still gonna buy it day one.
Yeah. I mean, those games. It's just like, I think NBA 2K comes out in the month of September. Yeah, I think it's already out, if not out yet, already. That game's probably gonna be number one when it comes in next month. So when we do September NPDs, so that's just the way those things work. But I don't know. I mean, I think what's most exciting about this is like, yeah, it's pretty much chalk for what you expect. If you're like, I mean, Saints Row is a shock, but like I said, I'm happy that it came out, and it's been a long time since that studio's had a hit. So, and the vibes I feel like the vibes of that studio was really good. Really, Saints Row 3, like Saints Row 4 was still a pretty fun game, but it was not a great, like, it didn't live up to the hype of 3. Get Out of Hell was fine. It was a DLC, it wasn't a full-fledged game. But I think the most exciting thing about this list is that we're starting to see some new blood.
Yes.
And we're starting to, like, it's been, the top 20 list has been holding packed for a while with some, like, we might get like something pop up here every now and again. But yeah, we're getting that time of year where we're getting to the holiday season where we're going to see a lot of big games come out the rest of the year. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see how the new games do. But Gables, I'm going to save the Q4 stuff for next week, because I feel like there's not going to be a lot coming out next week. So let's get into some other news of the week, Gables. Some of the stuff is a little older. We in the last few weeks, like I said, it's been pretty busy, so we haven't had too much to talk about. There was a GTA 6 leaks. by the time it leaked on Sunday, by the time it's been a week now. It's been picked apart, talked about quite a bit. They caught the kid. He's 17, from the UK. I hope the kid he's punished, but I hope they don't. I hope he's 17. I don't want that kid I hope his life isn't ruined from this. I hope this is like a learning situation. Obviously, he needs to be punished for it, but I don't want this kid to go to jail for like a decade because yeah, I feel bad for the developers and stuff like that for working this game, but I mean, he didn't physically harm anybody. He didn't do anything terrible as far as like anything like that. He just did some dumb shit, and I hope that he can move on from this. What about you, Gables?
Honestly, in regards to this whole like hack stuff for GTA 6 and stuff and the whole thing surrounding it, it's like, yeah, it was crazy. All those different videos, all those different other stuff leaked. But like in regards to this kid that they went through and arrested that was involved with that stuff, I think of it this way: this is Rockstar Games. This is something that even little minuscule violations, they do harsh punishments and stuff.
Yeah.
Considering that they worked closely with the FBI, as well as like with Uber, another company that was also hacked by the same group this kid was affiliated in. Yeah, I do not expect this kid to get off lightly.
No, I feel Rockstar will probably throw the books at him. I heard someone put this together, said this very well about Rockstar. They are a law firm that just so happens to make video games. So,
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. So, I mean, like they're the people that will DMCA videos for people like posting GTA and Red Dead games. So, they are very hardcore about their shit to an extreme extent. So, I just hope this kid comes out. Hope this is a learning situation. I hope he doesn't like I said. I hope a decade from now his life isn't still in ruins over this situation. It's just he's able to take it on the chin and move on. But this was leaked a few weeks ago as well by Jeff Grubb. So Koei Tecmo and EA have officially announced a partnership deal, and they are making a Monster Hunter style game. I believe it's scheduled to come out next year, but we have no other details besides that. Remember a game called I talk about this every so often. Remember the game Babylon's Fall, Gables?
Oh God, how could I not?
The Platinum game, yes. Came out, I believe, March 4th or 5th of this year.
Yeah.
Well, they announced this is a live service game. And I mentioned this back in the summer, for just a few months that the game came out. You can track how many people are playing the game on Steam at a time. During the summer, there was multiple during peak hours of gaming, they were averaging less than a dozen people playing at the same time.
Wow.
On multiple occasions, just one or two people playing at a time. So they've announced that in February of next year, they are ending service for this game. So not even a year into the market, they are ending service on Babylon's Fall. So Platinum giveth, Platinum taketh away. There's just no middle ground really for Platinum. It's either S tier quality or it is the bottom of the barrel of a video game. You're either getting 9s or you're getting fucking this garbage. So I don't know. Yeah. So pretty crazy on that one. Kind of a cool thing though, Gables.
Yeah.
Xbox. They announced not only, and this is officially live now, that you can combine your Xbox and Discord channel together, and now we can communicate with. If you want to have a Discord call with people, you can now talk to people on your Discord via your Xbox. So, which is really cool. So Gables, like say you're playing a game on PC and I'm playing on Xbox, you're on Discord, I'm on Discord, we can play and talk to each other while I'm playing on Xbox. I can talk to you via my Xbox. Pretty fucking badass. PlayStation, this is supposed to be coming to them next year, so.
Well, obviously that feature's pretty damn cool too, It's like it makes more convenient and stuff, and that way we're not having to both like miss out because of the fact, that we're on different platforms or even if on like different services in general,
Yeah, so pretty cool. I like the fact this is happening. Also, a cool thing they added to the Xbox app is the How Long to Beat. I don't know if you've used this before, Gables. I use this website.
I have used this
Okay.
before. It's basically keeps track of like how long it takes to beat specific games. If you look them up, just so you can organize. Okay, maybe I'm not in the mood for a 100-hour game or something. What other game in my backlog can I go and focus on next? And I've used it a couple different times for like checking out games that I want to try to go through and play, see how long they are, But
yeah. I've definitely used it quite a bit, especially when it's like you're a couple weeks away from a big game coming out that you want to play. It's like, oh man, I want to check this game out. How long is this game? You look it up, like, ooh, only like 10 hours. Okay, I'll play it. Or like, ooh, 40 hours. I'll wait. So like, I love it for that. It's not obviously it does not like you can't take that as exact science because like you could say, hey, you can beat this game in 8 hours. I always find like it'll show you like, hey, if you want to just mainline this 8 hours, if you want to like find everything, it's 20 hours. Someone like me that like does a little bit of both. I always like kind of meet in the middle there. So I'm like, oh, okay. So 8 hours to mainline it, 20 hours. So like 14 hours in probably for me to beat it is what I think. Cause I'm a little bit of a slower gamer. So, I love the fact they're adding this really cool thing. I heard some people get upset about this. I'm just like, well, just don't use it then. I just don't feel it. I don't understand that one. Another cool thing. And I've heard people get upset with this one and talk a lot of shit, and I just think it's dumb. So, Coalition Games, who make the Gears of War games, has announced that for now on, 1% of all future revenue earned from Gears of War will go to suicide prevention charities.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm a lot of. I mean, obviously, it's still you can't use Twitter as a barometer for anything. I when I read that shit when I was seeing people like, quote tweet this stuff and talk shit. It's like, ooh, well, Gears of War has been as good since Gears of War 3 here. Ooh, you haven't put a game out in 3 years. Like, fuck off. Like, it's still. This is like. It's and this is still probably like a top 12 to 20 franchise out there right now as far as like with the whole gaming sphere, not just like in our world of gaming. And they probably still generate $1 million plus and multiple millions of dollars a year in just like in earnings. So yeah, ooh, it's only 1%. Well, that's still a lot of fucking money. It's a lot more money than what these charities were getting before. So I think this is awesome. I wish more companies would do stuff like this. And the fact they're committing to 1% forever is awesome. And I feel like this, like, you can. My thing was like, people complain all the time about like people like will put out like merchandise of their stuff and they'll tie it to a charity and then like, hey, we're going to donate X percentage of this to that charity from like you sell a t-shirt and we're going to give 25% of all earnings from this t-shirt will go to this charity. It's like, well, that's kind of shitty. You should why only 25%? And I understand what you're saying, but if a company can do something for a good cause and they can raise awareness, make some money, and also make some money for those charities, I call that a win. Like, it'd be great for these charities to just give the money to them. I completely agree. But in the world that we live in of capitalism, this is probably the best bet we're going to have.
Probably.
So let's just take this as a win. So let's just be happy about it. That's kind of my opinion on that. And I'd be happy. Like I said, I love that. A couple other things here. So Jeff Grubb mentioned this earlier, like the beginning of this year, that there was going to be a Dead Space event in October, kind of showing up because we've seen like a lot of videos of the Dead Space remake, but we haven't seen gameplay. There's going to be a big blowout in October. Well, Tom Henderson is also reporting that there'll be a gaming event at the end of September, which
really?
So Saturday is October 1st. Next Saturday is.
So that would mean Prime
got a hiccup now.
Potentially getting something
Yeah.
going through another announcement.
Potentially as early as next week, but as late as sometime in October. So in the next month, we'll see official gameplay. We've seen some like gameplay, but it's been like, here's a sound difference. Here's some video differences, like the graphical differences. Yeah, like some really cool, like in-depth stuff if you want that. But like to see, like we haven't seen any combat, we haven't seen anything like that. Like, but we'll in the next like month we'll at least see some more of that game. And then also there will be a Resident Evil showcase in the month of October. No date yet, but they announced that there will be an event for them. I'm assuming that's going to be like a big blowout for the. We have the Resident Evil 8 DLC and all that, and then also Resident Evil 4 coming in March, I believe. And then finally, Gables, last but not least, Deathloop officially on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So kind of a cool little thing. Obviously, but Bethesda made that game and had the 1 year exclusivity to Xbox. And the cool thing is they've added some new content to it where they've added some new weapons. They can like some different AI stuff like that, and like some new
golden loop stuff, I think.
Yeah, and then also they added an extended ending, which is really cool because like that was like my one real complaint was like the game just kind of ends. It's like, oh, okay, because there's 3 different endings that can happen, and they're all kind of. I went and watched a YouTube video of all 3 different endings. And I'm like, oh, well, this kind of sucks. But like the game's still fantastic. It's like the last 60 seconds is like, oh, all right, well, whatever. So I'm not gonna replay the game, but I do want to I'm gonna watch a YouTube video of those endings. But yeah, that's kind of like what we got going on in gaming. Some other news here, but Gables, let's jump into what we've been playing. If you don't mind, we both been playing Splatoon, but I want to talk about Stray real fast.
Okay,
if that's okay with you. All right, so I beat Stray.
Yes.
It took me about 4 hours. When that's with me doing a decent amount of side stuff. I didn't find everything. I got pretty close to actually platinuming the game, basically. Well, not platinuming, like finding like 100% of the main game. The platinum, you got to beat the game in like under 2 hours, which no. But the game is very good, but it's not like, oh my god, this is a must-play game. But this is a very good game for what it is. It's like, imagine somebody made Inside, but you play as a cat, or Limbo, but you play as a cat. This is that. Like the puzzles aren't super hard, but it's more about the atmosphere and like the world around it, and like what the fuck's going on, what's happening, the mystery of the world, and like all of that. It's the vibe, it's everything else. That's what makes this game great. But more than just Inside though, they do have like different like a little hub areas. You like so there's like 2 different like little village. There's like a village and there's like a town you go into. So kind of what Stray is, for people like you don't remember or don't know. You play as a cat, which, I mean, awesome. It's also like really well made. I talked a little bit last week where like you hit the circle button and you just meow, which I promise you I spammed the entire time. You can like scratch shit all like as the carpet or like a couch. You can just go and like scratch it. You can just take a nap on like people. You can like rub up against people's like the robot's legs. You can just knock shit off the shelves. Like you just want to be a dickhead. It's a perfect game. But kind of the main crux of the story is like you have a little robot friend named B12 who goes with you, and like you kind of gotta work together to like solve puzzles. The puzzles not really that challenging. I kind of just like went along through the game. It's more like you're kind of just going with emotions, and like you might have to stop and think for a little bit here and there, but it's not like they are not hard at all. Like I think the longest I was stumped was like 2 minutes. That's only because I didn't like see a button prompt to click on. It wasn't even like a puzzle. It's just like, oh, I totally missed this button prompt. But like what's interesting is like the mystery and the story behind it. So like the humans are gone, like you're on Earth, like you're underground, and like there's all these robots that they built, and they're just like kind of almost like living like humans. Like they have like, they don't really they're just like they work on like one of them like runs a bar. Like they're like covered in blankets, even though they can't feel anything. Like and they're like trying to like figure out how to like get back up into like top side, get into the real world. And like there's like this giant like dome covering up, like you're underground. You want to figure out how to open up this dome to like go outside. And it's basically like it's like something happened in the world, and like almost like a disease kind of thing, and like took over and like wiped out everybody. It sounds like, I don't know, I can't really tell. It's kind of a mystery. There's like different things you can find to kind of fill in some gaps. I think that's what's interesting, is like filling in the gaps of all this stuff. Like this, like it's not so much the gameplay itself. It's like the interactions with the people is also really good, but like just kind of figuring out the mystery of this world is what I think is most fascinating, and like getting through this game and like learning more and more about what's happening. And like there's some cool collectible stuff you can do. Like you can find like music notes for this guy. Like this robot that plays music with the guitar, and he'll play the
Right.
music for you as you find the music notes. Or you can find like uh, P, diaries of other characters, and you can bring it back to this guy, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is what my this like," and find thoughts about like his friends and shit like that. But like, it's not overly challenging. You just kind of like you're just going with the flow on this game. But like I think this is like a really good. It's like a $30 game, but if you have, it comes with PS Plus Extra, which is why I ended up just upgrading. I just spent like it's like $48 for me to upgrade, and or pay $30 for this game, so I just upgraded, and I had a good time with it. Like I said, I played for like a little under an hour before we recorded last week, and then I Sunday morning I got up and I started playing it. Next thing I know, I beat the game. Like I just kind of got entrenched in the game. Like there's some cool like stealth and sneaking moments, stuff like that, where like you're in like this warehouse and there's like these robots trying to like they're trying to stop intruders, stuff like that. Like I said, the best parts of these games is like learning about the lore and the world of this more than actually playing the game. So I highly recommend if you are somebody looking for a game to play right now, or you just want like a good weekend game to play, or if you have extra PS Plus Extra, like we always talk about like the definition of a great Game Pass game or a great, I guess now this PS Plus game. This is that. This is a great, like if you have extra, this is a game you just need to check out. Like so you can beat it in a few hours. So and I beat it in 4 hours. Like my it was like 4 hours and like 3 minutes, and I spent probably a good 45 minutes wandering around these areas just finding collectibles and just talking to people. So you can beat it faster if you want to. But Gables, that's really all I got much to say on that game.
Okay.
Let's talk about Splatoon 3, Gables. I bought
All
Splatoon
right.
3. You've been
Yes, you
playing
did.
Splatoon 3. We talked about the top of the show. We are both Team Grub boys. But yeah, I've been playing it, Gables. And I have just been getting my ass handed to me. I've only played a little bit of the story mode. I did like the first like the tutorial area, and then I did like 5 or 6 levels of the actual game, the campaign. But yeah, I mean like you talked about a little bit last week. Kind of give me more of your thoughts as you've had like a second week now with it.
All right, so as of recording here, I'm past the 25-hour mark in playing Splatoon 3. I've been predominantly playing the single player core aspect of it because I love the various level designs. I also love the various mission structures about it. I'm at Site 5. I've
Damn. Okay.
actually went through Site 5. I'm just touching upon Site 6 as of last night. And what I do love about mostly that I've played so far is the main game definitely does do a fantastic job of introducing you to like the core tutorial mechanics in regards to not only the new weapons that are presented, but also in terms of introducing you to like new abilities or like new types of weapons you can use in that regards. What I have what I did discover though is like there are some on rail courses that I personally don't mind too much about in regards to like I try to finish some of these. Like for example, I was stuck on this one level, this on rail mission on Site 5, right? To where where they recommend you use like the bow in this section.
Mm-hmm.
And I
I did the same
literally had
level.
what's that?
I think I did the same level.
Okay, this is back like around Site 5 and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I did the one on site one where you had to play. You use the bow.
Okay, the Site 1 stuff is minuscule in regards to like say
Oh,
what
okay.
when you go through on rails and stuff, it gives you one of three options. I mean, you got the Gatling gun, you got like the whole splatter shot thing and stuff, and
Yeah.
then you have the crossbow, and they purposely go forth and like offer you like the crossbow as a recommendation first and foremost. I have tried doing that course with that crossbow literally like about I want to say I've dedicated a good solid like 45 minutes to maybe like an hour and a half most across a couple days trying to do it with that bow and stuff. I'd get some of the timings for some of the markers that I would hit, but timing is such a key and also precision is such a key thing in regards to this particular mission itself that I literally have gotten so close to the end of it and stuff, but at the same point, I got to a point where it's like, I'm gonna try this with another weapon and see what happens. And like within my second attempt with like the splatter shot dealy, the whole like middle tier weapon and stuff, I was able to clear the thing, and I saw the whole entirety of it. And I'm like, holy crap! I would have been playing like another good solid like maybe half hour trying to finish that one course with
Mm.
that weapon. And there are some core aspects of the bow and arrow stuff like that. Some of those on rail sort of missions that they can be pretty fun, but they also can be kind of frustrating, especially if you're not like as coordinated. It went so far as I adjusted my sensitivity settings on my controller and stuff, so that way I wouldn't be frantic. Like I would not like be overly sensitive to some of the movement with my bow and arrow in general.
Yeah.
but But yeah, the single player, the bosses that I've faced off against so far. I'm not going to spoil too much though, but I have really loved the boss battles inside of this game. I've done about 3 of them so far. The fourth one I'm going to be probably tackling not too long from now, probably within the next day or so. But I fairly have loved a lot of the themes of the boss battle stuff. I've loved all the various little types of missions and stuff, especially the ones with like the Zipcaster ability. I've loved going through and searching every nook and cranny to try to find like bits of lore in regards to like the pieces of paper you collect with the question mark to try to read a little bit more of the data stuff across the 24 available pieces you need to collect. I've collected all sorts of decorations. I've collected the Sardinium stuff. Now
Yep.
I'm missing 3 Sardiniums. That's it. And I you get those from defeating bosses and 3 of them and stuff. I am so close to completing the skill tree with my freaking character at this point that I literally have to have like 5 Sardiniums and then the rest of what I had collected when I was splattering through everything. The
Yeah.
fact that I've gone through this entire playthrough and stuff, and I'm almost maxed with my skill tree. I've had little to no issues grinding specific things just to collect the items necessary in order to do that. Honestly, it feels so awesome just go through just like covering things with ink that I've really paid no attention that I've literally grinded without subsequently like feeling the initial grind itself. That I feel as a testament to be praised there because it's like they Nintendo, especially the makers here of Splatoon 3, this could have immediately been like a big old grind fest in order to try to grind some bit of like the salmon eggs and everything else to try to lead up to making things artificially inflated and stuff, but they created it in such a way to where you're splatting things not only outside in the hub world through each site, but also inside the levels too, when they all contribute to like earning these specific type of blue medals that you collect. There's like 99 in all, and it's like you get to use the various stuff, and they show you the amount that you have left after you spend a specific amount. But yeah, I've really loved that. I've loved inside of like the multiplayer aspect of it. I have played a lot of the different type the matches with Splatfest. I've used this little ticket and stuff that gave me like double XP in regards to specific number of battles, which I then learned it's based upon match amounts. So like 10 matches or so it was good for. I've used predominantly a couple of different types of weapons. The Splatfest stuff, I've used my dualies that I had. My dualies are pretty fun because it's like you get to get close in on the enemies, but it's a good mid-tier type of weapon in my honest opinion. Plus, it's also helps that it has a dodge mechanic to where you can go through stuff. And then like the Octo Tank stuff, I've tried the Octo Tank stuff like half and half, but I'm not quite used to using it yet. And honestly, if you're against an opposing team and you're close inside their base, you activate that damn thing, they're gonna go for it. They're gonna get into your blind spots and just kill you almost immediately if you do like haphazardly go through and execute it. End up learning that a couple different times. But I'll tell you what has been an interesting surprise has been the ink brush item that I've had with the whole like the Tenta the sound wave speaker type of like stuff that's shooting across. Those things can target multiple different people on the opponent's side, and it can be freaking devastating. I had it to where I bought this specific type of ink brush. It's kind of a little bit more advanced than the regular ones that Sheldon does go for an offer in his weapon shop. But it's an awesome close range weapon. It was introduced in Splatoon 2 and stuff, but inside of this version and stuff, it's got max handle, max sort of like speed and stuff. It doesn't have a lot of range. It's specifically modeled as a close range weapon. And it's so good when it comes to combining it with like your standard like bombs and stuff, and also with like the whole special that it has. And it's just a blast to play because I literally went through one or two matches with this item in general and was getting multiple different types of kills, multiple different things. I wasn't feeling as readily frustrated as I was, like, say, with either Splatana or in some aspects the regular dualies that I did have,
Hmm.
because these ones are a little bit more souped up as that goes on. But what I can praise upon Splatoon 3's online so far, the errors have like decreased. There
Hmm.
have been some errors that do pop up, like maybe once or twice throughout that entire 5 hour span. I had like errors in that regards. Two or three times I did have disconnections because people quit like during the middle of a match or something, or they decided to quit just a little bit short after. But I do like it doesn't penalize you if you get
Yeah.
disconnected or something like that. I like that. But the online experience was actually rather well. It was fluid. There was hardly any type of like lag stuff present, if noticeable at all. I have not yet tried to play with a group of friends and stuff, but I do see my groups of my friends that are inside. They're like inside playing the game and stuff, and they have that little avatar thing like floating and stuff inside the lobby area. But the things I like haven't liked so much about Splatoon 3 so far, it's like they don't make it really obvious to where the friggin' locker room is during one
Yeah.
of their game
Yeah.
and stuff. Because Tyler, like we were talking about right before we started recording this podcast, to where it's like it took us like a good solid it took us having to go on to YouTube and also reading on websites and stuff to
Yeah.
make sure where the fuck this locker room is that they
Yeah.
tout.
There's no way I don't know how people would find it without uh, looking it up, or because they don't tell you where it is. It's like, oh,
No.
it's behind the gumball machine. Like, why the fuck would
Once
I
you
go
find
there?
Exactly. Once you find out where it is, it's routinely obvious. But in order for you to actually discover it, you have to be at least above level 4. It
Mm-hmm.
has to unlock from the general store once you update that regards. And that's one gripe I've had. The other one has in regards to some of the learning curve for some of the online matches, especially during the whole Splatfest type of things, where, hey, even though we've played Splatoon games before in the past, like Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, like online, I mean, oh my gosh, the lumpings in regards to matching you with your current ranks and stuff of like other
Yeah.
players of a similar type, that is all over the place.
Yeah.
You're going to be
There's like
facing.
none of that. Yeah.
I have gotten to a point now where I am not keeping with the same teams multiple rounds, and that's because one, sometimes a lot of them just drop out entirely, but two, once you do get to match up like with a team that's relatively decent, then we go on to a thing together. It just simultaneously goes, and we face off against a highly skilled team, and we're just done. Like
Yeah.
not even like a minute in, it's like completely like one-sided to a fact to where multiple different members of the opposite team will spawn your bit, will actually camp at your base and go through that. And the most hilarious part is I've had one match where a team that I was facing off against was trying to do that. And I was able to not only spawn in, but go to the back of their base and coat their entire freaking side of their base and end up winning
Nice.
the thing for my team because they were dumb enough to have all four members of their team at camping at the spawn points
Yeah. Nice.
because they thought it was so overly done in that regards. But yeah, if Nintendo did a better job of matching people at their skill, at their like skill levels, especially for those that are just entering in and then face off against people and entering in and ease them into the process that way, I mean that would be fine. But still, regardless of like unevenness in some of the skills and stuff that against skillful players and that everything and stuff, I still had a blast playing the Splatfest. I enjoyed leveling up to this to an extent to where I am a Grub champion right now. I am almost maxed out the whole thing and stuff to the 999 suffer experience. I love the aspect of getting a whole bunch of different multiple different types of gear and stuff. So I'm purposely trying to find more clothing items to where they have all four of the slots that I can go forth and fill out and do all this other stuff. I'm looking forward to getting better with upgrading my character for the online portions. I'm more excited to go forth and see what other types of weapons I can try out and have some bit of fun with and stuff, because this is definitely the type of game to where I may not go and do rank stuff necessarily, but the meat and potatoes of this entire online experience is turf war. And man, it definitely feels still incredibly satisfying to play this mode. But let me tell you something. That's satisfying, but also Salmon Run is pretty fucking satisfying too. I had a chance to play some bit of that, not last night, but a couple nights previously, and it's absolutely fun. You are automatically placed inside of a tutorial thing where you get to face off against multiple different types of bosses and stuff.
Yep.
And you know exactly how you can go through and complete, beat them and stuff. This is the way you earn your battle cash. This is the way you earn the type of funds needed in order to get everything else inside of this game. Because if you're not playing Salmon Run and helping other players online and earning money that way, then you're going to have a grind just playing Turf War or playing competitive only. But overall, I gotta say, this is probably one of the best games that Nintendo has released this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, what I played, very good. Like I said, I've only, I literally just only started playing it today. I like the changes to the campaign. The fact that you can just kind of, you can play as few levels really as you want to. Like you can just
Absolutely.
as long as you get enough to just get enough points to continue on to unlock the next areas, you can just run through. The my big complaint about Splatoon 2 that kind of stopped me from playing was every mission was basically a tutorial. The whole thing was just a tutorial for the online, and it would require you to use certain weapons for each mission. This will just let you use whatever weapon you pretty much want to, but you can earn bonus points by using different weapons.
Absolutely.
And then there's the ones where you want to use the crossbow and shit like that. Some of the weapons that I don't know why anybody would actually want to use these things. They're tied to side missions. You can extra missions you can do. You can just totally skip, which is great. I'm liking that, and I like the fact, for some reason, when we get to the main actual world that you're in Splatoon 3, it literally is just one of the maps from Deathloop, which is fucking hilarious. When the snow level from Deathloop is all it is, which is really funny. I'm I popped in. I'm well, there's the rocket from Deathloop. All right, here's the little base from Deathloop. All right, here's the snow level from Deathloop. It's just that they just turned the Deathloop map into Splatoon 3.
That's hilarious because I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought. I'm just back in Deathloop. But yeah, the online is pretty rough right now. It's just what sucked was Splatoon 1 had it. I don't remember if 2 had it, but the first I can't remember what level. I think it was level 5 or 6. You only played against other people that were level 5 or below, and that would be it. So it was great. So you're playing against people that were evenly matched. And this one, it definitely doesn't help that I started playing it during a Splatfest, but I have just been getting my fucking teeth kicked in. I think I'm 5-13 overall online, and I literally won the last 2 games I played before you hopped on Discord, Gables. I won. So before that, I was 3-13. I was the Jacksonville Jaguars of Splatoon. I was just getting my ass whooped, and I was still doing probably 700-800 points per game, but yeah, I was just constantly spawn die, and then I did a couple the trio battles and stuff that unlocked today, or late in the night, and it was just those were even harder. Or it was basically you were talking about, people were just standing at your spawn point waiting for you to come out. But they were good enough that you couldn't sneak by them. So it was just spawn, get a couple shots in, get wiped out. Spawn, get a couple shots in, and get wiped out. It was just it was not a great time. So, but I'm having a great time overall though with it. It's still fun to play. Still like the games are only 3 minutes. Obviously, there's issues like the Switch online still not great. It's kind of frustrating when the games drop out for no real reason, or like it takes you 60 seconds to 90 to get into a game. It's frustrating, or like you'll wait 90 seconds and you get an error, and then you got to redo the whole thing over again.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's kind of frustrating, but like, or like you can't once you start the process of connecting to a game, you can't like change your gear or anything like that. Like you like now you just like you're yeah, which was a frustration, was a complaint about the last game, which is crazy to me that they didn't fix that. But I mean, I don't know. I think for what you expect for an online multiplayer focused game on Nintendo Switch, this is the best case scenario. It actually runs really well. I've had very few issues of frame rate drops online, which is surprising to me. But yeah, I think so far it's been a very good game, and I can't wait to play more of it tomorrow.
But what I will say though, in order to do, and I will recommend this to those that are playing Splatoon 3 if they don't know this already, when you're in the lobby, press the L button. You can actually go forth and get that whole entering into a lobby thing without having to go to the damn room and do it that way.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Shortcut.
Yeah. And hit the X button to just instead of walking around the world, you can hit the X button, and you can just go right to the shop you want to go to, or you can go right to the lobby. You don't have to like. You don't have to walk around everywhere because the world, like I like the town that they built, Splatsville, but it's just like there's not a lot in there. I played the card game, Gables, very fun. The card game is really good. I like it a lot. Yeah, I was stunned. I played one game like I'll play a game whatever, and I played it. And like next thing you know, I played like 7 games in a row. It's fun.
It is really good, actually.
Yeah, so I want to kind of play some more of that too. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you liked all that, like I said, top of the show, please hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. Look in our description down below. Click on the links. There's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor. Extra Life is down there as well. Our links to our Extra Life pages are down there. So please go down there, click on those, donate, sign up, whatever you want to do to help out would be fantastic. But I was Tyler.
I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, play some fun games, and thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds Podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yeah?
In honor of the new AEW Tag Team Champions of the World. Scissor me daddy ass.
There we go.
Bye, guys.
See ya.